Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. Yesterday I bought some peaches at the farmer's market. Now the peaches, I really bought them from under the South Carolina farmers' sheds. So the peaches came from Monetta, South Carolina, and they're from DuBose Farms. And these particular peaches are called July Prince. And they're a yellow freestone peach, which means the seed's going to come out pretty easily. And these are a grade A, and they are beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Anyway, they were picked yesterday morning, and I bought them. Now they pick them very early in the morning, is what I understand. And I bought them, I guess, around 11:30 or so. And then I let them sit in the box. Now let me just show you the box. If I can turn my camera down. I let them sit in the box with the lid closed, so they create the ethylene gas, and that helps them to ripen up. Now I was going to wait until Monday, but I realized that I'm not going to be able to wait till Monday. So the way you know they're ripe, let me find one here, is you would be able to just slightly push in on them when you mash in with your thumb. Just you can slightly push in on it. That way you know they're ripe. Now we did have one last night for supper, and they were delicious. I just put a little sugar on them, and we just had them like as dessert. So anyway, now the first thing I'm going to do is wash these in the sink. Let's see, I've already got my towel set up behind me, and I'm going to put them in a bath of just plain tap water, cool tap water. Then I'm going to rinse each individual one. I'm also going to count them so I'll know exactly how much I paid per peach. So after I get them all washed, we'll be back, and I'll have some more information about peaches that you might be interested in. We'll be right back. Okay, we have thoroughly washed our peaches, and I'm going to peel them now. Now, these particular peaches, which again are called July Prince, are a yellow freestone. Now, what freestone means is that you can get that seed loose from the middle. Now, if they're really super ripe, you can just twist them, and that seed, will be able to pop right out. But these aren't quite as ripe to do that, but if I wait until Monday, they'll be too ripe. So I'm just peeling them. Cut off any little places you see. Now I'm going to take them like this, and cut them around. Now this one's not as ripe as the first one I did. And now, let me turn the camera so you can see over here. Now I'm just going to take my knife and cut out sections. Now the peaches, usually when you pick them, or when you get them at the farmer's market, sorry, that was my ice maker, you'll want to let them sit and ripen up just a little bit, because when you pick them on the tree, they should be somewhat firm, and you just need to let them sit a day or so. Now I knew that if I let these sit until Monday, they would get too ripe. And I really don't want to be doing them on Sunday, so anyway. And I usually just take my hand and squeeze out any juice. Now, I do not put the seeds in the compost bin, because my past experience is that the seed never disintegrates. I mean, you'll have, peach seeds all over your garden. So, but I do put the peelings in the compost bin. All right, now some statistics on peaches. The largest producer of peaches in this country is, of course, California. The next largest producer is South Carolina. And the third largest producer is Georgia. Now, everybody's heard of Georgia peaches, but you hardly ever hear anybody talk about South Carolina peaches. And I'm not sure why that is, other than maybe Georgia did a better campaign on the peaches than South Carolina did. But even the Peach Commission, I think, in Georgia is no longer in operation. And they come to, the people of Georgia come to South Carolina to their little peach conferences. All right, so just ring everything off that little pit there. And here's some more statistics. In South Carolina, they first started growing peaches, I think it was Aiken County, in about 1850. And they also started shipping peaches up north, because you know that in northern climates peaches don't grow very well, because once they bloom they can't stand that cold. So they would put ice in the freight cars to haul the peaches north, and I can remember seeing actual trains, this would have been in the 1960s, with water kind of pouring out the bottom of them where the ice was melting. But anyway, when I worked in peaches, which was in the 1960s, we worked in the packing house during the summer, as teenagers did, and we would work all day long. The people usually came to pick us up about 5:30 in the morning. We worked all day long and made $2.50. I know y'all are laughing at that, but that's the way it was. So, you know, we used that for spending money, us teenagers did. But anyway, when we were working at Peaches, the tractor trailer truck would be sitting right there beside the packing house, and as soon as we got the peaches ready, they were all loaded up, and I'm putting the peelings in the wrong place while I'm talking. Anyway, they would load them right directly on to the tractor trailer truck, and they'd go straight to market. So now these peaches, these particular peaches, were picked directly from the field and put right in that box I showed you in the beginning, and then they went straight down to the farmer's market. And of course I was there yesterday, and that's where I bought them. So I don't know how you could get any fresher than that. Now these peaches are not treated with any fungicide or anything like that, you know, at a packing house, because of course they didn't even go through a packing house. But anyway, I thought you might be interested in knowing where your peaches come from. Now, Georgia says their peaches are the best, and of course South Carolina says their peaches are the best, and I'll have to agree. I think South Carolina peaches are best. And they do, these particular peaches come in July. Now the white peaches, which are the cling peaches, they come in, I think, in June. And I don't like those as well for freezing. I think they actually are sweeter than the yellow peaches, but they kind of turn to mush more when you freeze them. All right, now I'm just going to take that seed and just squeeze out that juice. Now I also do not use the fruit fresh on the peaches, because what I do is, you know, cut up maybe enough to make 3 or 4 packs, and then I go ahead and roll them in sugar and go ahead and pack them in the little freezer bags and go ahead and put them in the freezer. And I don't really like that fruit fresh stuff on them. To me, it makes them not as sweet or something. I mean, if you're, you know, cutting them up, peeling them and cutting them up, then, you know, if you go ahead and do part of them and then go ahead and start freezing them, you don't really have to worry about them turning dark. All right, now watch this again. Now, again, these peaches aren't, you know, by Monday they would really be too ripe. So I can just put my knife in there and turn it and cut off sections of it. Now with the cling peaches, of course, you just don't get the seed out at all in any kind of easy way. They're really hard to cut up, in my opinion. All right, now I'm just going to squeeze that, get all that juice out. All right, we've got enough for probably 2 or 3 packs. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start putting these in the freezer bags, and so I'll be right back. Okay, I have got enough of these peeled that I can go ahead and put some in the packs. Now I don't really measure the sugar. I just put it in, okay? That's probably maybe half a cup. And then I'm just going to kind of try to coat them. And now that sugar is going to immediately start the juices running from the peach. It'll be just almost immediate. So I'm going to go ahead and start packing them in my freezer bags now. I think all of you more mature ladies know that you always use freezer bags that are designated for freezing. Must be that. The other kind are not going to keep your products in the freezer as well. Alright, now I'm just freezing enough for me and my husband. So that would go in smoothies, or either we would just thaw them out and have them, you know, as a dessert for a meal. I'm just going to mash the air out of them and seal them up. And I lay them out flat in my freezer. That way they thaw out really quick, and I can actually just dump even the frozen ones right into the blender for the smoothie. All right, let's do one more. All right, and just seal up your bag. Now I turn my bag down like this so the juice won't get all on the outside of the bag. Alright, so just mash that air out as much as you can get out, and then just seal it up. There you go. Now spread them out like that, and that way once you're thawing them out, it just takes seconds for them to thaw out really, and if you're putting them in a smoothie, it's kind of like putting ice cubes in there, but the blender will break them up much easier if they're like this. Okay, I'm going to finish doing these peaches and we'll be back. Okay, now I've got 3 bags here, and I'm going to go ahead and put these in the freezer, and then I'll complete peeling and sectioning out the rest of the peaches. But anyway, I wanted to share this with you. Now I do put mine in a pan just in case any bag decides to leak. Now I've never had one leak, but you know, I'd just rather get them frozen solid in the pan, and then I'll transfer them to the shelf. Now I wanted to show you this. Alright, these are July Prince peaches, and they did come from DuBose Orchards in Monetta, South Carolina. I bought them at the State Farmers Market there in West Columbia, and I got a half a bushel for $16. The peaches weigh 27.5 pounds. Now that was not including the box. This is what the peaches weigh, not in the box. So that made the price work out to 58 cents a pound. Last week at Bi-Lo, on sale, peaches, this exact same kind, were $1.69 a pound with the Bi-Lo card. The regular price would have been $1.99. That's a 66% savings. So I'm just showing you all this because it really would pay you to get directly from the farmer. And of course, these peaches were not with the distributor, but under the South Carolina farmers little bins, or the they have a, you know, like tin roof thing over them, and a long little section that's just for South Carolina farmers. And in season I get a lot of stuff there. Now if it's not in season, I go ahead and get from the distributors, which is still a lot cheaper than buying it at the grocery store. Okay, you can't go wrong. 58 cents a pound, grade A peaches, and that's what these are. See how pretty they are? Just gorgeous, and they taste wonderful. So, I hope you'll consider this and go to your directly to your farmer, because all places really have farmers stands right outside their farm, or places where you can buy stuff directly from the farmer. All right, I hope you will try this. Anyway, there are my peaches, and I'm going to finish the rest of them. I've got some work to do here. So anyway, I will see you next time.